All right. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Ball episode number 34. This is the second time we're recording the intro, and this one is going to be great. We are going to talk about game week 5 from the Premier League, and then we're going to do some awards from the week. But we're also going to touch quickly on maybe a little bit of Champions League talk, but I do want to talk about the Ballon d'Or because that was this afternoon. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, and the ceremony was just a couple hours ago where we saw Ousmane Dembele take home the Ballon d'Or trophy. And so I want to jump into that. But before we do that, as always, I am Toch Talks Ball, a.k.a. Tochi, your host, and I am with my good friend Spain, my co-host. And I just want to hear, Spain, how's your week going? How's your weekend? How are things for you?
Good. Doing better now that my mic is not muted. So we'll run this back, the intro section.
Beautiful.
But no, doing well. I had enjoyed this football over the weekend, even though it wasn't the best. The weather in England looked pretty rough, and I think that kind of reflected in a lot of the matches. But I was able to watch the Arsenal versus City game with some friends at a bar. And while we didn't quite get the result we wanted, it was really exciting to celebrate the late Martinelli goal, which got everyone up and jumping around. And incredible goal, incredible finish by him. So that was at least fun and made it all worth it in the end. Doing well. How are you?
I am good. I bet that was electric to be at an Arsenal bar, like just around people for that goal. I was in Whole Foods, walking with my phone, just watching. I just had to go get Courtney something from the store, and I literally screamed in Whole Foods. I was like, "Oh my!" Like I acted out. I looked like I was in the fans, or like I was a fan in the stands. Excuse me. But my weekend was good. I was in Wilmington for a friend's wedding. And that was fun on Saturday, but it did mean that I had to watch this, or I couldn't watch the second half of the United game. I ended up rewatching it later on Sunday. The first half I watched while I was getting ready for the wedding, and then the last thing I basically saw as I was walking in for the wedding was Casemiro getting that second yellow. So I basically was sitting there in the church praying that United did not find some way to mess up a 2-goal lead. And we did end up pulling out the win, which I was really happy about, but I'll talk about that in more detail later. But yeah, made it back on Sunday in time to watch Arsenal versus City and kind of close out my weekend on a relaxing note. And with a nice little City hate watch, because I watched them drop some points at the end as well.
I don't think you missed too much personally from the second half of the United-Chelsea game. It was pretty drab.
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty uneventful, but that's what I need as a United fan because we find ways to make things eventful. So
Yeah, once I saw that red card happen, I thought, Chelsea are going to find a way, or United are going to find a way to lose this.
Mm-hmm. And it was funny that you say that because I think Ruben Amorim even said in the pre-match interview, in the pre-match press conference, he was talking about how there's just certain feelings that you have as a team. And he alluded to the fact that, like, look at Liverpool and all these last-second goals that they get and the way that they can play poorly, but no matter what, at the end, they find some way to figure it out. And he basically was saying, like, United seem to be the opposite. We can play so well, but then find some way to make it hard or stressful on ourselves or something like that. So I thought that was funny that he said that, and then it almost felt like we did that immediately again in the first half of that game.
Spoke it into existence.
Exactly. But let's move on in. Like I said, I want to start with the Ballon d'Or stuff just because it's top of mind. So first of all, congratulations to Ousmane Dembele for winning that. It was very well deserved. It was really nice to see him. I was watching his acceptance speech, and you could just tell how much it meant to him and his family. And it was honestly, like I was telling you, like I didn't understand a word he was saying. It was in French, but I could feel it, and like it was honestly super nice as like a neutral fan just to see someone so happy to finally have their moment. So that was really cool to see. And I want to do a quick summary of the awards before we talk about the Ballon d'Or specifically. So starting from the top, men's Ballon d'Or went to Ousmane Dembele, and the women's went to Aitana Bonmati for the third year in a row. I heard there was a little controversy around that, actually. Some people that pay closer attention to the women's game were saying that they don't think that she deserved it as much. She's still a great player, but there's some other worthy candidates that maybe got snubbed. So that'll be interesting to hear more about. And then the Copa Trophy for the best young player went to Lamine Yamal for the second year in a row. And then on the women's side, it went to Vicky Lopez. And both of them are La Masia grads, I believe, who play for Barcelona. and they just seem to continually pump out top level talent, and it is just crazy to see. And then Donnarumma, he won the Yashin Award for the best goalkeeper, and Hannah Hampton, who I wrote in the notes, the one-eyed wonder. She's got no depth perception in one eye. She's got both her eyes that do work, but one has no depth perception. And I think from a young age, she was told that she wouldn't be able to succeed at high-level sports, and she stuck with it and ended up getting the best goalkeeper in the world award for. So great job to her. The Cruyff Coaching Award went to Luis Enrique, who wasn't even there to accept his award because PSG had to play during the Ballon d'Or ceremony because Marseille refused to move their game back, which I thought was hilarious. A huge rivalry match. And I do wonder like how much wiggle room there really was there. But still funny that they went and had to play that game and eventually lost that game as well.
Yeah. La Classique. Allez l'OM.
Classique. There you go.
Secondary team. That was my first team actually growing up was Marseille. So Allez l'OM.
Nice. And then Sarina Wegman won the Women's Coach of the Year award, and she's the coach of the England national team who just won the Euros, the Women's Euros. And then the Gerd Mueller award for best striker went to Gyökeres of Arsenal, and then I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I know her card in FIFA, and it is very good. I think she's Polish. Her name is Ewa Pajor, and she plays for Barcelona, and she won the women's version of this award. And then the Club of the Year award went to the PSG men and the Arsenal women's. So that is the whole Ballon d'Or ceremony and all the awards that went out today. Outside of, I think there's one for like a philanthropy award or something that doesn't go to a team or a player.
Nice. Yeah, I was happy to see Ousmane Dembele win the award. He obviously had like a really good start to his career, but had a lot of injuries and a lot of hardships, especially when we went to Barcelona. So it was great to see him finally rise back up to his potential and reach like the heights as in the best player in the world. So really happy to see him just get back to his best and to win an award to validate that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was kind of like not heartbreaking, but like you saw like how much he got hurt, and then I think there was a lot of questions about his work ethic and some of the stuff maybe he was doing off the pitch, and he got a lot of abuse, and I think people tried to turn him into look what this guy could have been if he had just applied himself or did this or did that, and it seemed like he just kind of kept his head down, find a really good environment for him, and I think it just goes to show what a little bit of hard work and a changed environment can do for you. So shout out to him. He deserves it. I loved seeing how how emotional he got when he started speaking about his family and what they did for him. Like I said, I don't know the exact quotes, but you could just tell by what he was saying how much it meant to him to have the support of his mom and his dad and his other family members around him during this time where he probably struggled, and then seeing them getting to see him rise to the top and win this award probably means the world to them, both to him and his family. So that was probably my favorite thing of the night, was just watching that speech and seeing the emotions of it all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you know if he's from Paris? I feel like a lot of speaking of like being in a good environment, a lot of the French players come from Paris.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if he's like from Paris, from the outskirts, or not. If he was like returning home and to Paris, play for PSG or not.
That's a great question. I don't know. Is Ousmane Dembele from Paris? We're doing a live. I wish I had a producer that could whisper these answers into my ear. He says he's not from Paris, but rather from Vernon, France, or whatever that means, wherever that is.
And then, good.
Oh, that's cool. They've got a little Ballon d'Or trophy floating on the Google screen when you look up his name.
I saw that when I was looking up some stuff before the episode.
Nice.
And speaking of you not knowing what he was saying, if my French was a little better, we could do like a live translation of his video, with like Kate Abdo does on like the CBS show. It wouldn't be as good as her, and wouldn't look as good as her on screen, but it would be cool to do it. But French is quite up to par for that.
I'm sure. I would love to see us work on that and have you recreate that for us. I could put on my best.
You be Micah Richards.
Yeah, put on my best Micah Richards impression. I got the fresh trim growing.
Yeah. We don't spin as much as he does and do it every week or every month, whatever crazy hair routine he's got going on.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I'm trying to get better about getting my hair cut more often, but definitely not as much as Micah Richards.
We can
Um,
um we can also get Bailey to guest feature to be Jamie Carragher, just interrupting and saying funny stuff, making a fool of himself.
Bailey would be a great Jamie Carragher guy. I don't know who our TT
Actually,
would be though.
that's some good. Halloween's coming up around the corner. That would be a fun Halloween costume to get like the CVS crew.
Wow.
I just thought
Honestly,
of that.
that's a great pull. That is a
hmm
really good one actually. They're
you
honestly a go-to crew.
Yeah, you could pull it off. Courtney could dress up as Kate Abdo. You could do like Micah. Just find two other people.
I'm gonna take notes on that actually
Yeah,
because we were just talking about, or I was just talking about doing something for Halloween with a friend, but I was like, I don't know if I feel like figuring out a costume and doing that whole thing, but that might be one that's worth it.
yeah. Maybe you have to do Thierry Henry with the whole like Thierry Henry, Kate Abdo tension.
Yeah,
That would maybe
yeah,
work a little better if you just do a 2-man costume with you and Courtney. That'd be good.
I don't mind that at all. I'm gonna put that one in the back pocket and we'll revisit that.
I like it.
Um, but let's go back to the Ballon d'Or conversation. I know we talked about Ousmane Dembele winning it, but I just want to go through some of my highlights from the top 30 players that were selected and what the list ended up looking like. So I feel like notable mentions. Michael Olise was number 30 on the list. I thought he had a great year for Bayern Munich, and I'm glad he's getting his shine because I think he was kind of very underrated at Palace and then made it to the big club and looked like he fit right in there. Declan Rice ended up at number 27, Erling Haaland at number 26. Denzel Dumfries made it to number 25 for Inter Milan, which is a good one for him. Jude Bellingham was at number 23. If we go further down the list, my boy Scott McTominay, the King of Naples, he is at number 18 on the list. So really good to see him leave United, find his feet. Like I feel like if you go back to the McFred days and seeing all the crap that people talked about him and like calling him in this trash football and stuff like that, and then to make it to where he is now, I'm just really happy to see that.
Yeah, the McFred to McSauce come up was been pretty wild. I love
Exactly.
seeing. It looks like he just got so much confidence too. The pictures of him at Wimbledon rocking up in that fresh suit. I think it was took his mom with him too. Yeah, it looks like he's just on top of the world right now. So good for him.
Yeah, definition of a glow up for sure. And then going further down the list, Vinny ended up at number 16, Victor Gyökeres at number 15. Due, shout out to him, he made it to number 14, and then Harry Kane at 13 I thought was a bit of a snub. Just looking at the list, I thought he had a great year for Bayern. He put up really, really good numbers. I think that were only maybe second to Mo Salah in the top 5 leagues.
Well,
So to see him that low on the list, I was pretty surprised as well. And then going into the top 10, from 10 all the way down to 1, we had Nuno Mendes. And then we had Donnarumma. Cole Palmer made it to number 8. He was the only Premier League player besides Mo Salah in that top 10. And then we had Kylian Mbappe at number 7, Hakimi at 6, Rafinha at number 5. I thought was a little bit tough. He looked like he was the front runner for the Ballon d'Or for a long, long period of last season, and he might have dropped off at the end. But to put him at number 5, I thought was a little bit. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's just such a competitive top 5 there. And then we saw Mo Salah at number 4, Vitinha at number 3, Lamine Yamal at number 2, and then Dembele, of course, won it all. But yeah, interesting list, super solid names on there. But Ousmane Dembele ended up winning it in the end.
yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Palmer in there, if of any of the players, just because he had a pretty bad second half to last year, scoring only 8 goals or no goals in the second half of the year. Maybe the Club World Cup has something to do with it. I don't think he was like a standout there, but he was good and they won it, so that might have helped. So that's like the one, I guess, kind of surprise, but might just be recency bias with him having a poor end of last year in the Prem and then having a poor start this season.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see exactly what the cutoffs were and like what his stats look like in the performance and all that. But like I mentioned this before, but I don't really know how the voting works for this. I know it's journalists and it's European journalists specifically. If there's certain delegations that were maybe trying to prop up their English star boy or their next up and coming English player, I wouldn't be surprised if they were really trying to get someone in there because it probably isn't a great look on the Premier League or England football, the England FA, if they don't have anyone within the top 10. So,
Yeah, I'm sure they colluded. I don't think the journalists in England have too much of an ethics in terms of like the stories they write, bashing different
Yeah.
players. So would not be surprised they colluded to get Palmer up there.
Yeah, and that's no disrespect to Cole Palmer. I think he's a really great player, top class
Hmm.
player, but there's just, I mean, obviously a lot of really big names here, and
Yeah, yeah.
not that he's out of place, but just interesting to see him that high up.
Hmm.
Let's see. Before we move on to the Premier League conversations, I know you wanted to give Charlotte FC a quick shout out.
Hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to shout out Charlotte FC. I was going to last week, but we didn't pod because I was sick. But last week, Charlotte FC tied the MLS winning streak record of 9 wins in a row by beating Inter Miami at home 3-0. It started with a Christian Kalina first half save on a Messi attempted Panenka, and that just really got the crowd going. And then like it was either like that same possession or not. 1 or 2 minutes later, we drove down the field, and Toklamadi scored the first goal. He's our young striker, 21 years old. This really filled Ajiman's boots well after we sold him to Derby County for a bunch of money. And I think he's actually been better for the team. He's a lot more mobile, just kind of works better with how the team works, like the link up and everything. And then he got his second goal, and then so 2-0. And then late into the second half, we got a third PK, which Zaha's our penalty taker, but he gave the ball to Toklamadi to let him get his first hat trick of his career. So to be 21
That's
years
awesome.
old, recently won your starting position at striker for Charlotte FC, and then scoring your first ever hat trick against Miami and Messi. I'm sure that like you could tell how happy he was when he scored it, and after the game he was interviewed and he was just beaming.
Yeah, you always love seeing like the young kids after they do something well, and like they just can't help but contain their like they can't contain their excitement or like happiness about it.
Yeah, he immediately celebrated with Zaha after he scored it, and Zaha's interview after the game was also nice because I mean Zaha's so like nonchalant and chill. He was like, "Yeah, I mean, what is this goal going to mean to me? Nothing. The game was over. I'm going to score 1 goal and make it 3-0. It doesn't matter. Or I could give it to Toklamadi. It's going to be his first ever hat trick and one of the biggest moments of his career so far, probably. So he definitely wanted to let Toklamadi take it if he wanted to. And Zaha also said he's like his little brother to him, which I thought was cool. He said he'll
Yeah,
like yell at him, and he knows he can take it because he's so good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just happy for Charlotte, happy for Toklamadi. We did just lose over the weekend to New York City FC, so that snapped our winning streak. So we are joint tied for that all-time list. We're not able to make it our own by winning 10, but still 9 wins in a row is really impressive. And Charlotte FC are in third place in the East, so looking pretty good to have a high playoff spot. There's like 5 games left in the season, so we'll make the playoffs for sure. Just depends on how high. There's an outside chance at the Community Shield, or was it the Supporter Shield, which is like the most point winning the regular season basically in the MLS. Outside chance of that, but probably unlikely after losing to NYCFC. But
Gotcha.
good season for Charlotte, and hoping to watch us go far in the playoffs.
Nice. Shout out to our hometown boys, Charlotte FC. Shout out to Zaha. I've loved seeing him and like kind of the leadership role he's taken on with this team. And like I remember he was catching some flack a little bit for his attitude on the field and stuff like that. And like I guess he was like moaning at other players and whatnot. Like I don't watch them enough to know like where the truth lied in this, but it is like he kind of came out afterwards and he was like, the only reason I do that is because I expect so much of these guys. I know we're a good team and I know we can be so much better. And I don't know if it was exactly from after that moment, but it seems like the team has really kicked on and like responded well and are obviously performing well enough to set that MLS record. So
Yeah, it was right around that
tie it.
time, and yeah, it was right around that time, and he's got 7 goals and 5 assists this year. So I'm and just in the MLS, so to have 12 contributions is good. So yeah, he's been a huge boost both just on his output on the field and also his leadership skills. So
Yeah.
he's been a welcome addition to the team.
Nice. Well, let's move on from MLS back to the Premier League. I want to talk about Arsenal versus Man City and Manchester United versus Chelsea. But before we do that, let's just kind of do some general weekly awards. In this section, we want to talk about winners, losers of the week, any surprises, matches of the week, goals of the week, that kind of stuff. So, starting from the top, did you have a winner of the week? I feel like it was kind of like a weird week, honestly.
Yeah, the one you put down in the notes is the one I have too.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go ahead and just say it.
Yeah, so I wrote down Liverpool with a question mark. I think winners of the week, obviously, they won their game. They won the Merseyside Derby, which is probably one of their tougher games of the year. You know, Everton was going to always be up for that. And they got 3 points. So that's now 5 wins and 5 for them. They sit at 15 points. But I think the reason that they're the winner is because Arsenal and City split the points, or they drew at Arsenal. So that not only meant that, like, one of basically their two biggest title contenders or title challengers drew points, and it meant that they extended their lead at the top of the table, and now they're 5 points clear. And I don't know. I hate to see that they're gaining so many points, and they haven't even really embedded Isak into the team. Wirtz hasn't even really gotten going that well. I think Frimpong is still hurt and trying to work his way back. Like, there's still a lot of pieces that they can add to this team in order to make them better. And they are still finding a way to just knock out win after win after win. Even in the Champions League, they did it again. I can't believe that. I completely forgot about that till I started talking. But they did it again, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's unreal. You'd like to think that it'll catch up with them eventually, but like you said, they haven't embedded Isak in yet. So maybe they'll just get lucky enough early on and then get good enough to where they'll just outright win games and not need luck to pull out these last second winners. But yeah, I don't think it's way too early to call. I still don't think they look great. They definitely have vulnerabilities. But yeah, I just hate seeing them keep getting these points at the very end.
Yeah. They also seem, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but they feel a little immune to injury right now, too. Like, Frimpong is hurt, obviously, but I don't know if they have any other major injuries really going on in the team. Whereas it seems like Arsenal are losing a key player from every single game. If you look at it, I forget what the order it went in, but like Havertz went down, Saka went down, Odegaard went down, came back, and then went back down. Now Nani Madueke is getting his knee scanned. Saliba was out for a couple games. So, yeah, it's rough.
The deal with the devil for Liverpool will have to end at some point. That's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. They're doing well. But moving on to losers of the week. For me, my loser of the week was Wolves. Not to be too harsh, not trying to add insult to injury here, but they are still on 0 points. I thought if they were going to get points, it was going to be this week against Leeds. Not that Leeds are a bad team, but they are one of the promoted sides. So you'd think, like, this is a really big game. They're at home. Hopefully they get up from it and could at least get a point. And for them to leave there with nothing and also lose, I think it was 3-1, not even like it was like that close. It's a tough one for them.
Yeah, they did re-sign Vitor Pereira, though. They gave him a contract extension in the midweek before the game. So they definitely are confident in him. He's a great manager, so don't fault them for that. But most clubs on 0 points would not give their manager a new contract extension. So Wolves must know that they sold and like they just couldn't buy this summer and have a longer term vision in mind and know it's going to be a rough season just to survive. But yeah, that was just interesting. But they have a bigger plan, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they've got what seems like a few really young, talented players coming through. So hopefully they're just, like you said, they're just playing the long game. Vitor Pereira had them as one of the better teams. Like, if you look at form-wise, towards the end of last season, from when he came in, he had them as performing as one of the top, as a top half team. So they lost Cunha, who was such a talisman for them, and I don't know if they lost other key players necessarily, but Cunha was taking what felt like 40% of their shots or something crazy like that, and like he was involved in like something like 33% of their goal involvements and stuff like that. So it's hard to replace that. But they're working on it, and they know it's a work in progress. So hopefully they can turn some things around, start getting some points on the board at the very least. Start fighting back.
Yeah, they need to start getting points because those relegated team or the promoted teams have already been accumulating points. They've already got a head start, and even like a 6 point gap I think Burnley's already got on, or Sunderland's got on them, is pretty significant.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely not nothing. Let's see. Who is your loser of the week?
I had a hard time coming up with anything like too big or like a great one, but I came up with Ange Postecoglou. He is new at Forest, but he's come in, and after 3 games, they're winless. They've got 2 losses. One was Arsenal, which was expected. but then they lost to Swansea in the EFL Cup after being up 2-1. No, up being 2-0, I believe.
Oh
They
wow.
let up 2 goals in the 90 plus minute in stoppage time. They let up 2 goals to lose, get knocked out,
Wow.
and then they drew against Burnley, one of the opponent teams over the weekend. So he's having a tough start at Forest. Granted, it is a completely new system, completely different like philosophy than how Nuno set up his team, but tough start for Ange Postecoglou, and just kind of going back to the point of like, does it make sense to get rid of Nuno, even though there was like more stuff going on there? But not a good start for Ange.
Yeah, that's actually crazy that you mentioned that. I was watching their EFL Cup game just for a little bit, and I didn't even realize that they lost just because I saw that they were winning, and I just kind of assumed that they were going to cruise to a win.
Yeah, no, they threw it away at the end.
Wow, that's hilarious. I
Yeah,
feel like
like
that's kind of
95th and 97th minute, I think, with the 2 goals.
that's crazy. Sounds like Ange though a little bit.
Yep.
Let's see. Moving on. Let's talk goal of the week. I watched a lot of them. I went and rewatched every single goal from the match week, and if I had to pick one, I mean, there's a few different goals you could choose from for different reasons, but for me, I think just the one that made me like my reaction was like, "Whoa, that was a nice goal." Was Anton Stack? I don't know how to pronounce his name, from Leeds. Had a nice free kick, just hit the ball well, beat Jose Saw on his like basically on his near post side. So maybe a bit of a keeper mistake helping him out there, but it was definitely top bins, and it was an absolute rocket. Like he made really, really good contact with that, and I've heard a lot of really good things about him as a player in general. He's looked pretty good as I've watched Leeds this season, and so he got a really good goal to top off a good performance for Leeds.
Yeah, it was a sweet free kick. He really struck that ball hard. So I wouldn't put too much blame on Saul, even if it was like on his side. My goal of the week has to be Martinelli. Speaking of like things that really got me out of my seat, that one obviously did because I'm a big supporter. I was in a bar with a bunch of people. Big relief to finally score after having like the majority of the possession and control in that game. So Gabriel Martinelli's goal was my goal of the week.
Yeah, I can get behind that as well. That was actually the first one I wrote down, just like off of pure memory. I mean, great finish, and I'm love to see that he seems like he's getting his confidence back as well. Because a couple weeks ago, I was ready to write the guy off as just low confidence, probably needs to change the scenery, like this, and that. But he came back, scored a good, I think it was a good goal against Bilbao in the midweek at the Champions League to get Arsenal up 1-0 there.
Yeah, it was a counterattack. He was on for like 36 seconds, and we just cleared the ball like one head over, then one like kind of kick over. He's ran it behind, kind of similar to this one, and finished it low. It went underneath the keeper, but he hit it low and hard, so it went in.
Yeah, and beat him for pace, basically from like the halfway line or behind the halfway line. It looked like, and then I think he also assisted the second goal as well, if I remember correctly.
Yep, to Trossard.
So, yeah, it came
Actually,
off
it was
the
really
bench.
nice because he usually just like dribbles out of bounds or can't find that final ball. But he actually had some
Exactly.
composure and found Trossard, who did well, was also super composed to finish that.
Yeah, so really big week from him, and capped it off with a great goal against City to earn the point for Arsenal there.
Yep.
And then moving on to my player slash performance of the week. This one was a tough one for me. I didn't watch too many of the games, but I went and rewatched some of the highlights, and I saw Alex Iwobi looked like he was absolutely bossing it in the Fulham game. They went down early to Brentford in that match. It was an error from the 18-year-old, I think he is, Josh King. Ended up in build-up just passing the ball right to Damsgaard. Damsgaard slots it in the bottom right corner, and that like could have really killed Fulham's momentum. But I remember I saw a clip of Iwobi going to Josh King, basically being like, "Don't worry about it. Keep your head up. Keep playing. Like we're still here. We got this," type of thing. And then they go on and score, I think, 3 unanswered goals against them. And one was a good finish by him. There's a scrap in the box that he finished and he scored and he gets the goal. And then he had a very nice assist for one of the goals where he just kind of finds, I forget who it is on the right side of the box who hits it first time and then slots it into the bottom left. But the way
Harry
Iwobi
Wilson.
found him, I think it was Harry Wilson, yeah. I think Iwobi finds him with a really nice ball that goes through the Brentford defense, and then Wilson just first time it was just such like an aesthetically pleasing goal. I don't really know how to describe it, but it almost like zigzagged the way the ball was on the ground. Like didn't leave the ground. It was really nice. I would look it up, but
nice
that was like really cool
play.
to see. Exactly, and he seemed like he was just like bossing it in general. So Iwobi has my player/performance of the week there.
For mine, I honestly could not think of anyone that really kind of wowed me that I thought was great this week. I wasn't able to watch the Fulham game, but love to hear that Iwobi was so good because ex-Arsenal player, and he's always happy. And I don't think he's ever been like the best player, but I love to see that he's fit in well at Fulham, and they seem to like him there, and he's nailed down a spot and contributes a lot to the Fulham team, and will be streaky and provides goals and assists, and I guess kind of a little bit more of leadership as well now that he's getting a little bit older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's nice to see him doing well. Just as like a fellow Nigerian, I want to see him win. Yeah. So, and he just seems like a good guy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. He really does.
Let's move on. Unsung hero of game week 5 in the Premier League is who for you?
For me, it's Jade Anthony at Burnley. He's got 3 goals and assists so far through 5 games for Burnley. He got a big goal this past week to get the draw for them against Forest. That's a big point for Burnley. Every point counts, and Forest were a good team last year. So I haven't specifically watched him too much. He's gotten on the ball a lot. I know if I want to have watched him, but just have 3 goals and assists through 5 games is huge for a promoted team. So he's my unsung hero for this week and throughout 5 games.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I didn't realize his stats were that good. I've seen him play a couple times. He caught my eye against United because I think he scored in that game or assisted or did something in that game, and eventually gave away the penalty at the end that had us beat him. But I have had like he's one of the more recognizable names on the Burnley team sheet for me now, and I think I'm glad to see that he's doing well as long as it's not against United anymore.
Yeah, who's your unsung hero of the week?
My unsung hero of the week in game week 5 is Oliver Glasner. Not that I didn't watch the Palace game, so I don't really know how that performance was. I know that they won, which is always good, but Palace, I saw the stat today and it blew my mind. Palace are unbeaten in their last 17 matches. So that includes the FA Cup semifinal, the final, and the Community Shield, which are all against tough opponents. Unbeaten in all those matches. They've got 7 wins, 10 draws, and then in their last 29, they've only had 3 losses. So Oliver Glasner really has this team looking super solid, super well drilled. They lost Eze, doesn't matter. They're still playing well, still getting points on the board, and the next game upcoming is Liverpool, and I am really, really excited for that one. Mm-hmm. I was listening to, I don't know if it was a podcast or maybe I was reading some tweets or something like that, but they were talking about how Glasner is really good at identifying opponents' weaknesses and kind of playing to that. And he's just a really good coach when it comes to analyzing like where his team can get the advantage in the game. So I'm really, really interested in paying attention to the details of like how he tries to take down Liverpool and seeing like if he's able to kind of come up with a blueprint to nullify them. Obviously, it won't mean anything if they end up losing the game, but Oliver Glasner has Palace on fire, and I'm excited to watch a lot more of them this season.
Yeah, well, hopefully he does figure out that blueprint, and all the other managers are watching as well and taking notes.
Exactly, because someone needs to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Next on the list is my Game Week 5 Fraud Watch Award. For this one, I had to write down Aston Villa. They didn't lose. I think they scored. They scored. They scored their first goal of the season, but they also drew against promoted side Sunderland, I believe it was. And I thought if there was any game for them to get going, it was going to be this one. And they just cannot seem to get anything going over at Aston Villa. And it is a terrible, terrible watch for me as well because I've got Watkins and Morgan Rogers. And all season I've been saying, I'm going to hold strong. Like when I got them, it was for these games. And I don't know if I can hold strong any longer. I think I've seen what I need to see. I think Villa is a club that looks like they're in trouble. I watched Emery's post-match interview after the match, and he just seemed like he seemed a little bit at loss for answers, to be honest. Like I could see it in his face and his demeanor. Like usually he seems so assured and so confident and like kind of has an aura about him, but he kind of was just like the way things he was saying. He was kind of just like the players just aren't confident right now. And he didn't say it, but he's just kind of like, I don't know what to do about it. Like it's not really their fault that they're not confident, but they're not, and it's showing in our play. And it just seems like the vibes are pretty bad all around there, and so bad that it looks like the sporting director is leaving. I don't know if he got fired, if he's stepping down, or what, but it looks like there might be some big changes to come at Villa because when the sporting director leaves and you appoint a new one, usually they've got their own ideas of how they want to play. If it doesn't match what the current manager is, that could mean that the manager is next on the chopping block as well. So something to keep an eye on with Aston Villa this season.
Yeah, it's definitely a switch up from last week. Because last week, even after they lost, Emery said he knows how to fix it, and then for just a week later, say he doesn't know what's going on. Then just quite the switch up because he sounded pretty not confident, but he's like, "Yeah, I know how to fix it. I'll get us going." Last week,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been brutal. Being another Watkins and Rogers owner, yeah, I've had a terrible start to my fantasy season, and owning both of them is a big reason why.
Yeah. Yep. Right there with you. And I guess to be fair to him, he didn't say he didn't know what's going on, but I got the feeling that was like how I felt about what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the odds? Or how crazy is it? Or like to have said like at the beginning of the season, yeah, Matty Cash is going to be the first goal scorer for Villa in game week 5 for you guys.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds of that?
That is insane. I'm sure it would have been plus 100,000, something crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last award of the week that I wanted to do was a hot take / overreaction. I honestly probably should just cover this in the United Chelsea section. It's not even really a hot take. I just wanted to put something down there. But my take is that I think Ruben Amorim will be just fine. I think there's so much reactions to when we lose, when we win, all the United fans want to be like, we're back. When we lose, everyone wants to be like, it's a crisis. Like, he needs to be fired now, whatever. I think everyone just kind of needs to take a chill pill and stop reacting so much to, I know people are going to say, but last season, yada, yada, yada. Just give it time. New signings came in over the summer. Cunha wasn't even there for the City game, and Sesko still obviously trying to find his feet. And I think let's just calm down. If you look at the table right now as it stands, we are level with City. We are 3 points off Arsenal, and we've got Brentford and Sunderland next. Obviously, these are trap games where like anything could happen. We could lose, but I think all things considered, that's not a terrible place to be in at this moment. If you look at our schedule, we played Arsenal, we've played Chelsea, we played City, who are 3 of the top 4 teams in the league right now. So the schedule is going to get easier. I looked at it. We have Brentford, Sunderland, and I think we play Liverpool, which is another really tough game. But then we have like a 10-game stretch where the hardest team we play is Newcastle, and then we play like everyone else are like bottom half level teams, or at least winnable games. So I think if you can get to that stretch of games with like a little bit of confidence, I think the season can look very different soon. So that's my take for the week is everyone just take a deep breath. Let's let the season unfold, see what happens here.
I'd like to go on record and say that I cannot agree with that. I don't think Amorim will be fine. I've seen enough from like the midfield having issues and him not being willing to compromise and change his tactics or system at all. Where I think you guys will still struggle. I like the take from you, but I do not think he's fine.
I guess how do you define fine?
I don't think we'll make it to the end of the season.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to say maybe Christmas, but that feels a little too quick. So I don't think he'll make it to the end of the season.
Oh, see, I think if he gets fired like soon. Like I think he gets fired like next international break or two, like within like basically like either October. I think there's a November international break, or he makes it the rest of the season. I don't know if he'll like leave in Christmas or second half of the season. But we'll see. I don't know. I think they came in, and what I saw in reports is that basically what his bar is they have to make Europe. not necessarily Champions League, but they got to make like a Conference League spot, which I think is like 7. I think spot 7. So
Yeah, I think so.
6 or 7, depending on how many teams make the Champions League from England.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I picked you guys, I think, to finish like 6th. But after watching, I've grown less confident and don't think he will get you guys there. But
I don't know.
still very early. And like you said, you guys have had a very tough start this season. And like just going to look at the table, it's actually not that bad as you just described. But I've just seen like holes and things that don't look good to me in the midfield. Look like some big issues still.
Yeah, I think part of it. Oh, go ahead.
I think like just having a manager that would compromise a little bit would help a lot, but obviously he's not going to do that, as he said, which is fine. But I just don't think that's like the right person for the situation at the moment. Somebody that will not compromise.
Yeah,
Which we can talk
we'll
about
see.
more if we want to get into it later down the line, because you did have that one question that was really interesting on your Toast Talks Ball account. Which could be worth bringing up. Which like who's to blame between like Amarin, Ineos, or the players?
Yeah. I meant to talk about that last week after the City match because it felt a lot more relevant after a loss than after a win. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But let's before we get too deep into that, unless you want to start with United Chelsea or do you want to start with Arsenal City?
We're already on the topic. Let's just go into that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into United Chelsea. I watched that game, like I said. I watched the first half, getting ready, and then didn't really get to watch the second half. But then I rewatched the whole game on Sunday just to get a little bit of a less reactive reflection of the game. And honestly, the game was just chaotic in that first half. I feel like we started the game well, which is a trend that we've had in all of our games this season. So it's not really to take much. I guess I'll start my whole analysis here with it's hard to take much from this game in a game that there were 2 red cards. So I'm not taking any season-long really inferences from this. But in the first 3 minutes, you saw Robert Sanchez get himself sent off for taking out Mbumo, who was basically through on goal. And that gave United the advantage. They ended up going up 2-0. I forget in what order it happened, but Cole Palmer had to get taken off after 20 minutes. So after the first red card, Maresca takes off, I think, 2 attackers. He took off Pedro Neto and somebody else, I think Esteval. And then they go and take off Cole Palmer a few minutes later in the 20th. And at that point, it seems like all of their attacking threat was off the field and they were just camping in, trying to survive. And United go score 2. It's 2-0. And then later in the first half, at the very end, in like about 45th minute or so, Casemiro goes and gets himself a second yellow, which honestly, I know he shouldn't have made the tackle like that, but that was his second tackle. That was his second foul of the game. And I feel like it's a soft yellow for a second yellow in a game like that. Like, I think if Chelsea didn't already have a red card, I don't know if Casemiro gets a second yellow for that and gets sent off. But it is what it is. Like, it was definitely a foul. I just don't think it was, like, necessarily dangerous or reckless or stopping a fast break. It wasn't like an accumulation of fouls. That was his second foul of the whole game, which is his first one was the first yellow card. But anyway, United find a way to make it hard for themselves, and Casemiro should know better. He was on a yellow, and he made it hard for United going into the second half. But the second half was pretty, like, nothing too notable. I just thought it was nice that United made the game boring rather than too exciting. Chelsea had one disallowed goal that Fofana scored, but he was very far offside. And then it was Chalobah scored a header off of a corner where I don't know what happened to this day, like to this moment. I rewatched it multiple times to try and figure it out, but it seemed like United were disorganized. I couldn't tell if they were yelling at the ref, if they were yelling at each other, but they just seemed not ready. Enzo took the corner kick short really quickly. And then Reece James was basically free to put a ball into the box. And you know how Reece James is when he gets time, and he put a perfect ball in for Chalobah and they scored. And that made things a little nervy for United, but they held on. There were a couple other like kind of half chances and decent chances that Chelsea created, but United held on and they ended up winning that game 2-1. As far as performances that I thought were pretty good from the match, Matthijs de Ligt made some really, really good interventions. He was good on the ball. He put in some good crosses. I think he's playing really, really well. Probably the best football he's played for United, and some of the best football he's played probably in a long time, just in general. I was a little bit skeptical at the beginning of the season. I thought I wanted Harry Maguire to start over him, but he definitely has earned that starting spot, and he's probably been our best defender alongside Lenny Yoro. Um, and then
Yeah,
Cunha. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. I would say I've been impressed with Delict because I thought he was pretty poor for most of last year, and just since he's gone to United, just hasn't looked like mobile or confident or like very sure at the back, and not someone you want in your back line. But yeah, he's been playing really well this year, so got to give him some props for that.
Yeah, he's definitely impressed me. And then Cunha came off the bench after returning from injury, and he was a much needed just kind of release valve from the pressure in the second half. There were a couple times where he just used a kind of a little bit of a moment of magic to either take an extra touch around a player or draw a foul or just find ways to relieve pressure that was on United. So I thought that was really awesome to see him do. Like, not only is he a skilled player, but I feel like he's got the personality to really step up in those moments, which I think is going to be good for the team moving forward. Mm-hmm. And then I thought Mazraoui was super solid as well. Last week I was a little bit skeptical when he came into the first 11 because he looked a little bit shaky against City. Not bad, but just a little bit shaky. But this week against Chelsea, I thought he was super solid. And I think he's one of our best players when he's healthy and fit. I think that has always been his issue, is whether he can stay fit. He's always been a pretty good player, and he looks really, really good. And I hope, like, at first I was thinking he could be a rotational player, but I think he's the type of player that probably needs to find some way to get him in the starting lineup whenever we can. Mm-hmm. Probably the one good signing we had during the Eric Ten Hag era, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, it's hard to have some major takeaways from this match other than it was just nice that United were able to see out that win. I think that win takes a lot of pressure off of Amorim's back. You got Brentford and Sunderland next in the next two, which are two very winnable games. If you can string 3 wins together in a row, I think that'll be really, really huge for United and for Amorim, and just building a little bit of confidence, because I feel like it's been a chaotic start to this season. But I think people are way more outcome biased than they need to be. That's just my opinion. I think against Arsenal, we performed well. Granted, it was Arsenal and they weren't quite fit, sure, and we lost that game. But against Fulham, I think we played... Honestly, I thought we played decently well in that pretty well in that first half, to where we could have been up and done better. And then it was the second half that kind of killed us in that match, and it was still a draw. And then I think the worst part about the season, obviously, was the Grimsby loss. But I guess the reason why I still feel decent about United is because I don't think the Grimsby loss comes down to the tactics. It was the team didn't show up and wasn't putting in the effort. They were making elementary school mistakes, and it wasn't like they were being put in these awkward positions because of the system necessarily. Like, it's just, they didn't show up to play that day, and they ended up losing that game, and rightfully so. Onana had 2 keeper errors that led to the Grimsby goals that led to them losing that match. And so I think it looks so much worse. Like, I think if you take the Grimsby game out of the equation, we lost to Arsenal, we drew Fulham at Craven Cottage, and then our third game we beat Burnley in a game that, like, we made it harder on ourselves than we need to in that second half. But we could have been up 3 or 4-0 in that first half alone against Burnley. It wasn't like the underlying numbers were bad in that match. And then we lost to City, who is still Manchester City. And those games were like, it was still like individual moments that gave us mistakes. Like, I think my thing with United is we're decent in between the boxes. Everyone likes to make a big deal about our midfield balance and getting run through and stuff like that. But the goals that we're giving up aren't necessarily because we're getting run through in our midfield over and over and over again. I think our execution in the final third is really poor. I see multiple 3-on-2, 4-on-3s, 4-on-2s that we're just giving the ball away and not executing as well. And then I'm seeing some lack of execution in the box. Like, we are susceptible to these crosses that get thrown in, and that is a coaching issue on that side. I'll agree with the defensive stuff, but I think it's a little bit overblown from what I'm seeing. And so going back to that, we lost to City, who's still like a title contending team. And then we just beat Chelsea in our 5 games. And people are trying to say that, like, this team can't succeed. I don't see this team going on and winning big things with Amorim the way it's set up right now. I just don't think it's as dire of a situation as people have tried to make it out to be at this current moment. And so I think just give it, if we can get a few wins under our belt, get a little confidence in the team, I think the team can go on and be just fine. Like, I'm looking at the table and I'm like, okay, if we're trying to get top 7, I think Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea comfortably finish ahead of us at 4. And then who are the other teams really that are so solid at this moment that we won't be in and around the mix? Like, Tottenham are on 10 points, but they're playing Champions League. Their squad isn't that deep. They could falter off from there. Bournemouth are playing really well right now, so I'll give them their credit. Crystal Palace are playing really well, but then we're above Newcastle. We're above Villa, who are supposed to be our competition at this moment. Newcastle are playing in the Champions League, so let's see if they can even keep up the levels that they have. Like, and then who else is on that list? You got Brighton, maybe. Like, there's not too many teams that I think are playing so well that, like, we can't be in and around the mix. So
Yeah, that's
we'll
super
see.
fair. It definitely helps that, like, with Villa having a bad start, totally agree that Bournemouth are going to be really good this year, and Palace, they'll be right up in those places, I believe. It'll be interesting to see if Villa get back up there and how Newcastle do. And then, like,
Yeah.
Everton have been pretty good this year, right about or tied with you guys on points right now, so they could be in the mix as well. But yeah, no, but definitely all like really valid points you're making. Obviously, things have been overblown, as is Manchester United. People love to make a news story out of them and whatnot. Yeah, my biggest thing is, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but my biggest thing is I just Amarim not being able to change the system, and I think it's more comes down to more so like the team isn't quite there, the players you bought in doesn't suit his system enough for him not to change it up at all when things start to do go poorly. But like you said, super early, so we shall see where it goes.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what the team looks like playing with confidence. But going back to the game specifically, just a couple of other random things and threads from the game. Garnacho, I think, got his return to Old Trafford ruined by that red card. I think he would have come on had they not had that red card. But I also think, I was also wondering if Maresca's playing a little bit of mind games with him, trying to be like, I didn't know that would have been an ego-driven game for Garnacho. Like, he definitely would have tried to prove a point and put on a show. And I wonder if Maresca was like, because Maresca was talking to him as if he was going to bring him on the pitch for like the last what felt like 30 minutes of the game or so, and then he just never came on, which I thought was really interesting. Like, they brought on Tyreek George instead, who's a player that they tried to sell a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
that didn't make any
that
sense
was
to me.
weird. And then the other thing is Enzo Fernandez is such, like, he's growing to be one of my like least favorite players, most hated players in the league. I think the dude is just such a rat. Like, something about him just really pisses me off. And I think it's because like the way he, like, every single time we play him, he targets Mason Mount and goes at Mason Mount and tries to like almost like big dog him and be like, blah blah blah, like, I'm loyal to Chelsea, you're not, blah 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 blah. But I'm like have some respect for Mason. Like, he achieved more things at that club at Chelsea than Enzo Fernandez would probably ever achieve in his Chelsea career. And like, I just feel like something about, like, it just feels almost performative. Like, he's like trying to like win over Chelsea fans by being like, oh, I'm gonna get under Mason Mount's skin or something like that. And maybe he just simply doesn't like Mason Mount, but like, I just don't understand. Like, I feel like Mason Mount's a pretty top professional for everyone that I've heard. Like, he seems like he's got a lot of good friends in the game. It doesn't seem like he's an asshole, so I just don't understand Enzo Fernandez's like thing with Mason Mount specifically.
Wasn't watching that close. I'll have to go back and look for that, but yeah, I can't say I've ever like loved Enzo Fernandez's attitude or been a huge fan of his. Other than he is a good player, but
yeah, he just kind of seems like an asshole. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the guy. I'm not trying to make judgments based off of what I see on soccer. Like, I know some people just get in that mode when they like get on the field, and like that's just like kind of their competitive edge and stuff like that. But just something about him is just so annoying to me recently. And not even recently, honestly. It's like been something over the last like year and a half or so.
I'm glad you brought up a player you hate because I've got a similar one for the Arsenal City game, so that I wanted to talk about. So
I already
I'm
know
glad.
you're gonna say
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
it. I've been talking about him being a rat as well. So
Yes.
that could be a good transition over to the Arsenal City game. I'll give you the reins.
Well, there's one more point I wanted to make in this
Okay.
United game. How Embuemo has not scored yet for you guys this year is beyond me. With the number of chances he's
Yeah.
gotten, like it's a mix between chances he should have scored and just like accumulation of chances. Like he's got to be at like 3 xG now with no goals, with like just number of
Hmm.
shots, like ball coming like fizz into him like at the 6 yard box and just like hitting off him weird. Like
Yeah.
one of these is bound to go in just based off of luck at some point.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, he scored against. I think his only goal against Grimsby Town.
He hasn't scored in the league.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at FPL. I'm thinking I'm about to go get him, Bumo, maybe. So we'll see how. I mean, I don't know what my team's going to shape out to be, whether I wild
Yeah.
card or not. So that's spoiler alert there. But yeah, that is really interesting.
Yeah, I just seen like games
Well, I guess
highlights.
he just scored. He did just score against. He scored against somebody.
Did he?
He scored against. Maybe not. Am I making that up? He scored against Burnley.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
okay.
I remember he scored in back-to-back games because he scored against Grimsby and then he scored against Burnley that weekend.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. Well, I
but
missed
I
that,
still
but
agree with you though. Like I'm still with you as far as like the amount of chances that have fallen to this guy. Surprisingly, he's only on 1.85 xG, but I feel like he's gotten like a bunch of like the one chance that I know you're talking about where Ahmad just fizzed it into the bottom. Like it was against City. Like he was basically like in the 6 yard box and
Yep.
fizzed it to him, and he just somehow did not turn it on to goal. And then he's had a couple good chances as well, just from like some crazy angles, like his volley against Donnarumma in that same game. That was going far post was a good shot, and he's had a couple chances like that. He had a header that looked like a pretty good chance against Chelsea on the weekend. Like he's in and around the goals for sure.
he's had some of those where he cuts in his left foot curlers, like one or two of those that you like. He's not expected to score them every time, but just based off like the number of chances and his finishing historically, I would expect to have like two or three by now. So
Yeah.
that's one thing to watch going forward is whether things start going his way more, and just starts
Yeah.
bagging more goals.
Yeah. I wanted to really quickly. I mean, I don't need any more United propaganda, but we do lead the league in expected goals and
Okay.
chances created. And at one point, we were top three in touches in the. I think we were second in for touches in the opposition box that went down this week, but we're number four. Like our underlying numbers are decent attacking wise. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
we
see.
can
You
just
guys have
figure out
had
the
a
defense.
lot of chances and should have scored more. Like the Casemiro one against City, where he's like at the 6 yard box and just doesn't really expect it to come to him. You guys should have more goals for sure.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'll let you get to Arsenal City though.
Yep. So Arsenal City, this was the big game on Sunday. Ended up 1-1. The big talking points. First I'll just start with my reaction. I ended up being pleased with the result, mostly just because City led for the majority of the game, and we had a hard time getting into the box and like create chances against them. So I was ultimately pleased because the goal came late to get us a point, which was looking like 0 at the time. Obviously, I wanted to win, wanted us to be a little more attacking from the start in the first half. But I think Pep came out and played in a way Arteta wasn't expecting. So that is something I want to talk about in terms of the lineup and tactics. Martinelli is stepping up and is like getting back into his best form. So I'm really happy to see that again, and just happy for him. It was great to see the players celebrate with him in the Champions League. You could tell how happy they were for him. So it's great to have him back in form. I think he's really great coming on late as a sub and running in directly in behind because that's what he's so good at is with his pace. And if he can really time those runs and get more chances like that, like that's what he needs to be doing, not getting the ball and trying to progress it because his final ball and like one-on-one dribbling isn't great. Eze is continuing to show his quality and the difference he makes. So I love he's basically showing why we bought him and is making those showing the difference offensively. Like being able to play that final ball, whether it was that awesome chip through ball to Martinelli that was perfectly weighted, that first time cross he had for Gyökeres a couple weeks ago in the Premier League. He's showing his quality. And then just like the lowest possession for Pep, I think, ever in the game was this past weekend. So those are like kind of the main talking points. The game in the first half was not that exciting. Holland's really good. They were playing on the counter, and that worked out in their favor. Yeah, that's kind of like the main just reaction. Any more reaction from you before we talked about lineups and tactics? I think that's like the biggest talking point coming out of this game is how Arsenal lined up the game.
I had like just game reactions in general. I did have a couple questions about Arsenal lineup stuff, but let's talk about that after when we get to the lineup and tactics. In general, I thought it was interesting, but maybe more so, maybe not for like a more casual neutral fan. I thought it was an interesting game, but I heard a lot of people saying like Manchester City and Arsenal produced another like boring game or whatever. Like I was entertained, so I thought that was an interesting narrative to see online. And then Erling Haaland is very good. I think he is on 13 goals in 8 games this season or something crazy.
Yep, for club and country.
I think that includes club and country, yeah, because he had like, what was it, like 5 goals against someone in one game or something crazy like that. But as far as like what I saw on the field, I was really shocked by Pep Guardiola's haram ball, like terrorist ball tactics. But it makes sense. I saw in like people trying to contextualize it in retrospect, and they were saying like City did play in the Champions League on Thursday or whatever, like had less rest, so maybe they didn't want to go out there and stretch themselves as much. So fair enough, but like I've never seen Pep Guardiola play like that. Like that bus park was crazy, and I've never seen. It wasn't like Arsenal were playing really well. They're keeping the ball, but like I've just never seen Man City so willing just to give the other team the ball. I don't think, because like against United, obviously two teams of different quality, different circumstances and stuff, but Pep was almost had a like doing like a super high press versus Arsenal. It was just like a super deep block. So I guess we're seeing a little bit more versatility out of Pep and maybe a little bit more pragmatism going into the season. So that'll be something to watch depending on who they're playing.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was surprising. Crazy how Pep is getting praised for his pragmatism, whereas Arteta gets called out anytime he does that. But won't dive into that at the moment. But yeah, going on to the lineup and tactics. So we started out with Trossard at the left. That was the biggest surprise to me from the lineup. I thought it was going to be between Eze or Martinelli. I thought, actually, I was pretty 50-50 on that, but didn't think Trossard was really in contention to start at left wing. And then the other talking point was Merino starting at center mid, which I did expect, but I guess I expected Merino to start at center mid because Odegaard was out, but then Eze to start at left wing, which is what I was hoping for. Because I thought we would control the game being at home and wouldn't have the space to run in behind, which is what you want Martinelli for. So I was surprised that Trossard started. Can't say I was surprised Merino started, even though I would have liked... I mean, I can't really fault it because I would have wanted Odegaard to start there. Ideal lineup, Odegaard starts at the right center mid position where he usually does, and then we have Eze at the left wing. But because Odegaard was out, I was hoping Eze left wing, Merino center mid was fine by me. But it is what it is with the injuries. I think Arteta started Merino because he thought Pep would be like play his normal way, pressing and trying to like play through the lines more. Whereas we sat back, it really didn't make sense to have Merino in there, and didn't really work out for our game plan wise. And also, they did score 9 minutes into the game, so like game state changed. Maybe City started sitting back a little. I can't remember like the first 9 minutes if City were sitting back as much as they were throughout the rest of the game. Definitely not the second half, which was like really parked the bus. But I wonder if City scoring early incentivized Pep to sit back, and that kind of changed his tactics a little bit. But all to say, I don't think Arteta thought Pep was going to sit back like that, so he thought it was going to be a more back and forth game, which is the type of game where you want to have Merino in there to press and try to win the ball. But when they were playing so direct, it just didn't really make as much sense, which is why he took him off at half.
Yeah, yeah. I think to your point of like when it started, I feel like I don't know if it was just because Arsenal started well, but I don't feel like City like really had like attacks up until that point or anything like that. Like I feel like that was their
Hmm.
first meaningful attack, first meaningful chance,
Yeah.
first meaningful bit of the ball, and they I think they were setting up to hit Arsenal on the counter and felt like they could. Which
Hmm.
honestly, I want to see more from City of this season. Like I don't think they want to get into basketball games where they feel like they're super open. But like the reason I fell in love with Erling Haaland as a player was seeing him at Dortmund and like the threat that he poses in behind
Yeah.
when he can just get going. That like that straight line sprint like is unstoppable. Like
Yeah.
and you to not use that as one of your main weapons, I feel like is criminal with a player like Erling Haaland. Like that's what made him so exciting. So I think hopefully we see more of that this season from Pep.
Yeah, that's like their best players, best part about their game is those transition times. So why not use that more?
Like the way he held up the ball and then just took off was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, there was no shot for Gabriel or I think Zubamendi to catch him. I don't. Saliba was not at fault for the goal, but I wish he would have played it a little better and would have like stepped a little more to cut off that pass because
Yeah.
I wasn't that worried about Reinders. I would have liked to for Saliba to take like 2 steps back to cut off that ball and then like dealt with Reinders and like forced him to take a shot. If he beats us, so
Yeah.
what? But once I saw Holland running through, I knew it was game over if he like found him.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking the same thing. It almost looked like Saliba was trying to do the Van Dyke aura defending a little bit, where he
Yeah.
like doesn't really like commit to either of them, but
Hmm.
like kind of forces some type of error. But
That's what I want him to do.
I
Just take like 2 steps towards like cut off that passing lane.
exactly like I would have like yeah exactly like maybe take a stick, cut off Holland so it makes it more enticing for Reinders to shoot, and then maybe if you can just like quickly step closer to Reinders as he
Exactly.
might be like
Get that
winding up
block.
to like pressure a little bit or try and get the block or something. Yeah.
So yeah, Saliba's not at fault for that, but being one of the best center backs in the world, I was hoping he was going to save us, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't happen. Like the only 2 chances City created the entire game were those 2 breaks with Holland. I thought Doku was actually pretty good. He's been in good form
Yeah.
lately. He was doing well, getting the ball, progressing it for them. Ultimately, they just didn't have that many options in the box for him to do anything with it, and he didn't end up in anything. We kind of like shut off any passes, any crosses to the middle, but he did look good.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he's been good for them since he's been there, because other than his dribbling's great, but his end product has not been. But he's been looking a lot better this season.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. I think he looks like he's really starting to figure it out. He looks super confident. He's like a little cheat code. Like as soon as you get him the ball, that ball's sticking to his feet, and he's gonna either draw a foul or beat a man or do something. Like it doesn't always result in like obviously a goal or an assist or like the perfect final ball, but as far as like we're talking like pressure valves, like if you can find him, like he's going to be able to carry the ball and make something happen, at least like give you guys a second to get up the field and release a little pressure on the team. I think he looks super confident. Like I've been very, very impressed by Doku this season, to be honest.
I don't bet
Yeah.
but we should have started as I think.
Yeah, I honestly didn't. I would have loved personally. I would have loved to see Eze. Like I think that would have been a more aggressive approach to the game and like a more like I think that's probably been the big criticism I've seen online of Arteta is that he's just is maybe a little bit too cautious. Like Gary Neville came out and I watched his kind of post match thoughts and he was basically saying like for these big clubs, a club like City, Arsenal, United, Chelsea, Liverpool, these big clubs like you what you in his opinion what you should be doing is how can I get the most attacking threat, how can I put my biggest stars and my best players in positions to succeed and affect the game in terms of goals and assists without compromising defensive solidity. Versus I guess his criticism was that he feels like Arsenal is like I'm trying to get as much defensive solidity as I can get while still trying to get a little bit of attacking thrust or whatever in the team as well. And that was kind of his criticism. And I guess I can see that, but I can't really like fault the thought process of starting Marino. I think he's been great. He's been scoring goals. He's been, doing well. Like, I don't know if he's been scoring goals for Arsenal necessarily, but he scored for Spain and I think he's just someone that seems like a player that's like he's just a tidy player that helps knit things together. But if you're trying to be more aggressive and play front-footed and take the game to Manchester City, I think Eze is definitely a more aggressive pick in that position. I think he just expected Pep to try and come and dominate the ball, like you said, or like, and didn't think that Pep was going to sit in that low block. So maybe like fair play to Pep for that chess move there. And then one thing that I did have for you that was related was seeing the way Eze and Martinelli affected the game. What is your ideal kind of like ignore the back line? I feel like back line's pretty set. Like Calafiori is playing really well, Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber. Like when Ben White comes back, maybe he finds a way into the team or something like that. And Lewis Skelly is a rotational option there as well. But front six, what does that ideally look like? I assume Declan Rice is nailed. I assume Zubimendi's nailed. But like, what does the front other four positions look like for you?
That's a tough question because there's like a couple different scenarios. With
Yeah,
everyone
that's
healthy
fair.
though, Odegaard, Eze, Gyökeres, Saka.
Yeah.
Odegaard, like he's had a pretty good start to the season in terms of like his energy level looks better, but his output still hasn't been great. So like we could even start Eze in that position. Like, the other thinking is like put Eze there and then start Madueke on the left, which he's not playing on the left. I don't think for us. Maybe come out as a sub there, but has not started there. He's primarily a right winger. So that's the other like kind of option I have in my head. 'Cause
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
want Eze on the field because I love Eze. I think his
That's
end product is elite. So it's kind of figuring out whether it's Eze and Odegaard or Eze and Madueke, and also depends largely on how Madueke looks on the left and whether he can like
yeah.
create output there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out when I was looking at the team because Eze seems like a player that's so good, you got to get him in the team. And I think he can play and will play well off the left, but is he being maximized if he's being asked to hold width on the left? Because it looks like Calafiori likes to drift in and kind of play like
Yep,
kind of in and around that kind of left half space. And you have
totally.
other players, and Victor Gyökeres, I think, likes to run into that left half space as well. And so Eze, I feel like you can get a lot of value out of him if you play him centrally, like you saw him do to set up the Martinelli goal at the end there. But it's hard to say, oh, you're going to bring in Eze and bench your club captain, who's the only other, like, that's the only other position that he can really play. Not the only position Eze can play, but, you know, that would be where he would have to slot in. So I thought that was interesting. And then Madueke's been playing really well, I thought, for you guys. I think he's looked really threatening and is proven to be a pretty good signing for you guys. I don't think he's obviously lit the world on fire, but I think it's interesting how quiet people have been about Madueke, even though I think he's been playing really well after all the stink and storm that people made about his transfer over the summer. And I feel like he's someone that, like, yeah, maybe if you want to play as essentially, you have an option to play him off the left. Or if Martinelli can somehow keep this form up and be okay in certain scenarios, you can start him off the left if maybe you want to play a little bit more transitional or something like that.
Yeah, we got a lot of different like combinations and options. So it'll be on Arteta to figure out what works best for us in what game. I love having the options, but yeah, it's hard to really say. I'm totally fine with starting Eze over Odegaard if Odegaard's not looking up to it, and with him being injured right now. I've always been like a Odegaard loyalist, but over like the second half of last year, I've been more open to him not starting. And now that we have Eze, I'm even more okay with that, just because Eze might just be better at the moment.
Yeah.
But then what we're doing to the left, I'm hoping Madueke looks good out there because I would love if we could play him on the left wing, and or Eze, and then but also have Eze in the midfield because I think that could be a really strong lineup for us.
We'll
And then
see. I think.
and I think
Go ahead.
like Gyökeres has been fine so far. He's had some good goals. He had basically no opportunities and was basically crowded out in the game against City, so I'm not going to fault him for that. It was more on us not being able to create chances for him. But his hold-up play has not been great, so I do think not having Kai still hurts us for that option because Kai Havertz's hold-up play is so good. So
I agree.
desperately want Kai Havertz to come back. And honestly, in certain games, Kai Havertz will start over Gyökeres 100% when he's healthy.
I think he will. I think that was my hot take a couple, like, towards the beginning of the season. I think Kai Havertz is still going to probably be a starting striker option for you guys. Like, I think Gyökeres is a good goal scorer, but relatively one-dimensional in the sense that like I think he plays his best when you can hit a ball into the channel, he can chase it down and try and make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, like I think you're going to easily see him getting kind of shut out of games, like you said, because I don't think his back to goal play is that great. His hold to play isn't great. He's not great in the air for being that big. Like it's really just if you can get him with some momentum running forward, I think great. Or maybe like find him in the box, maybe. But like again, like you're gonna throw in crosses to him when he's not that great in the air. Like I feel like you'd almost would rather use Kai Havertz as a target man of that style. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that develops.
Yep.
Because I feel like a lot of people were talking about the goals that he was scoring when he scored against Leeds and stuff, but then I think against United, against City, and I don't know if there was maybe one other team he played that I think he's got like one shot total between all three of those teams or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be something to watch. But I like how many options you guys have going back to that squad depth. Like I think that's the one thing. Can you hear me all right still?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's telling me I'm reconnecting. I don't know what that means. Hopefully it's still recording, but I was just saying, like, I think it's going to be really nice for you to at least have the flexibility, and it seems like you're able to kind of ride out these injuries better than you ever have been as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm hoping that'll help out with us like around Christmas time, end of the season, because I don't think Liverpool's depth is quite there. Definitely not as strong as ours in some positions. Maybe in the attack, there's pretty good. But yeah, I'm hoping that'll prove to help us because that's is what hurt us in the past. And then one more thing on this game is the Rat Man. So we get a new segment for this. Bernardo Silva cannot stand this man. It's been about 2 years now, but I think he used to be really good. I used to really respect him. But I think once he's lost a little bit of his athleticism, he's been getting more frustrated. So he's been compensating, but cannot stand that man. He just loves to get involved, put in that late tackle on Gabriel. I really didn't like because I was so late. I wouldn't say he was trying to injure him, but he was definitely putting that in on purpose, coming in late. And then throwing the ball at Trossard and then trying to make a big deal about Trossard throwing it back at him. Can't stand that man.
Yeah, I saw the Trossard interaction on social media way too many times this weekend. He's been a rat and is a rat. I have noticed it. He just seems like I don't know how to describe his it is just very ratty. I guess that's the perfect way to put it. He's just like annoying, like kind of petulant, just kind of like he'll leave in like kind of some late tackles, like he said, but maybe he can get away with it because he's like little, It's not like the same as like a big dude coming in late and taking someone out. I think he's earned himself the rat title, and I've been seeing the fan sentiment shift on him as well.
Yeah, can't stand him. He used to be great. I used to respect him, but can't stand him over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Trossard threw the ball back at him.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that was nice to see.
And honestly, I think the ref handled it really well. Like, it wasn't a huge thing, nothing like that big. It was pretty just petulant from both players. So I think the ref did a good job, like calming the situation down, talking to him, no cards. Props to the ref.
Yeah. Let's see. You got anything else on this match?
Nope.
All right. You want to go into these game week 6 predictions?
Let's do it.
All right. Game week 5 wrapped up. Let's look ahead to game week 6. As far as our Premier League predictions have gone, for the weeks that we have gone, the score right now is Spain 14, and I've got 13. So I'm behind by one game. Got to make up some ground. Maybe I make a bold call in this upcoming slate of matches for game week 6. Should be some good ones. And I am ready when you are. I can go first because I feel like you've gone first the last couple times.
Cool. I will call them out to you.
All right.
We got Brentford versus United.
Give me United. We're going to get the ball rolling. This is the beginning of our 3-game win streak, maybe 4.
Nice. Leeds versus Bournemouth.
I'm going to go with... This is a tough one, actually. I'm going to go with a draw. Okay. I don't know why. I feel like Bournemouth's been playing really well, but for some reason I just feel like Leeds at home, maybe they nullify Bournemouth somehow.
Real quick, I meant to bring it up to the United time. You said is how many wins in a row? You going for 3?
Going for 3.
Maybe 4. That guy with his hair we got to get to 5 wins. Maybe you can finally start hoping, finally start believing.
I feel so bad for him. He's been on some United podcasts recently, and his hair is crazy.
Dude, he's got
like he was
good.
I was saying he looks like I feel bad for him because he's like it's his whole brand, so he can't obviously can't cut it. But he's like, dude, just the upkeep that it takes to make it look somewhat presentable every day if he has to like leave the house or go do something. He said is insane as far as like the time it takes to take care of it.
I mean, he just got curly hair. If he just took care of it, it was not that hard. I saw like a video of him actually washing it, and like it came out curly. Dude, you actually have good hair if you just took care of it.
Yeah. Wow. I haven't seen the video of him washing it and actually like taking care of it. It just looks like a big old frizz ball right now.
Dude, it's just like kind of like my hair. Like honestly, if you just took care of it, it would look fine.
Yeah.
But he just
That's funny.
brushes it out, and it's like a massive. Yeah, I said frizz ball.
You should send him some pointers,
Some tips, yeah.
some products.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. Maybe we'll get him onto our pod too. That way. Okay. So you picked the draw for Leeds versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, you know what? Let me play it safer. I'm gonna play it safer. I'm gonna go Bournemouth. Sorry.
Leeds are at home in a good form, but yeah, Bournemouth are just good.
Yeah.
All right, Chelsea versus Brighton.
I'm gonna go Chelsea. Actually, depends on if Cole Palmer plays. You know.
He's out.
I'm gonna go draw.
Draw. City versus Burnley.
City.
Palace versus Liverpool.
I'm gonna go draw.
Nice. I like that. Forest versus Sunderland.
I think Ange figures it out. Give me Forest.
Okay, first one for Ange. Big Ange. Tottenham versus Wolves. Wolves figure out?
So they got to eventually, right? Oh man. I'm going to go draw. I think Thomas Frank is a great coach at coaching teams that are either like equalish level or better. When he has to be on the front foot, I think it's a little bit harder for him. I'm going to go draw.
Okay. Villa versus Fulham.
Villa have to figure it out eventually, right?
They have to. At home.
I don't know. I feel like the vibes are still too bad for me to pick them to win. I'm going to go draw.
I think what I'll probably do. Then Newcastle versus Arsenal.
I'm going to go Arsenal.
Yeah, kind of worried about this game. Then Everton versus West Ham.
Give me Everton at home.
Okay, nice.
There's a lot of really tough ones. Honestly, there's a lot of games that could go either way. Like,
yeah.
I didn't feel confident in really a lot of those.
No, I haven't thought about who I'm going to pick. When you were going through, I was thinking the same thing. These are some really tough ones to pick. Like the one we did for game week 4 was pretty easy. Like we both got a lot right and picked pretty similarly. But for this one, I don't know where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a lot of differences, and it could be a pretty diabolical or great week.
Nice. All right. Well, I am ready if you are.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So first game, we've got Brentford versus United.
I'm going to go United.
All right. And then Leeds versus Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Okay. Also, notice I feel that's the first time you picked United. Maybe.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe you're. I think you definitely swayed me this week with some reasoning, because otherwise I would not have picked it.
That's funny. A little devil on your shoulder, no pun intended. And then we've got City versus Burnley. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Did I do Chelsea versus Brighton yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Chelsea versus Brighton.
Chelsea.
All right. City versus Burnley.
City.
All right. Palace versus Liverpool.
I really like the draw pick you went with, but just playing the odds, and since it's a head-to-head pick, I'm going to go with Liverpool. But I like the draw.
Right.
I could see Liverpool Palace being the first team to get some points against Liverpool.
Nice. A little bit of a game theory from you.
Yeah.
Forest versus Sunderland.
Forest. He said Ange has to get it on the board eventually.
Yeah. And then we got Spurs versus Wolves.
I'm going to go with Tottenham. Just at
Okay,
home, Wolves have been terrible.
fair enough. Um, what about Villa versus Fulham?
I'm gonna go draw, which I think is what you went with. Just have no faith in Villa at the moment, and Fulham are pretty good defensively.
Yep. And
Or they are good
then
defensively.
Newcastle versus Arsenal at St. James Park.
Arsenal, of course.
Nice.
I think it's gonna be a tough game. I'm interested to see Voltemade. I like him a lot just as a person. I think he's just got like that aura about him. He's like that I'm
Yeah.
him, confidence, tall guy, dresses cool. So I'm interested to watch him more this season.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know if
heard
I'm
he
like,
struggled a bit in their last game.
yeah, he didn't look that good. Or like he's tall, but he's more like a number nine or like a false nine. Like does a lot of link up stuff. He didn't look that great from the little bit I watched. So I'm interested to watch him against like a really tough defense in Arsenal.
Yeah, reminds me of Xerxes a little bit with that description.
Yeah, yeah, kind of similar play style from what from the very little I've seen of him.
Yeah. And then last game is Everton versus West Ham.
Everton.
Nice. Nice. So it should be a good slate of games here. I'm actually excited to watch Premier League this weekend. I've got no plans. I will be chilling, so I'm going to try and watch as much of these games as I possibly can. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool is the one that sticks out for me that I'm most excited for. And then, of course, Newcastle versus Arsenal is a huge one as well. I'd love to see Chelsea drop some points. I want to see Wolves get their first point at least of the season. I need them.
I
to
would
be
love
back
that
in
against
there.
Tottenham too.
Yeah. But yeah, should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to these games. I was looking forward to this past weekend because I was out of town the previous weekend, wasn't able to watch much, but the games just didn't really live up to it this past weekend, like we said. So, hope, but this slate, this coming weekend looks really good.
Yeah. Let's see. Hopefully, like, we get a little bit better. Like, I'm hoping we start seeing teams finding their feet a little bit more, and we start seeing a little bit more, like, just, I don't know, just better football in general,
Yeah.
more exciting. Just because, like, I think first couple of weeks kind of feels like preseason a little bit, and then you had international break, which broke
Yeah,
things up
the
and
worst
stuff like that.
timing for international break ever. Always
Exactly.
right there.
So hopefully this is going to be the third week out from international break, or no? Yeah, third week out from international break, and then teams should be rolling. So let's see.
Nice.
You got anything else? Game week 6.
No, that's all.
All right. You want to touch on the FPL real quick? I know you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, we should do a
Let's
quick
get
touch on
Mag.
it. I've had an absolutely terrible start to this season. I was gonna play 2 weeks ago. I was gonna play my free hit that I told you I was thinking about, and I was like pretty confident I was gonna play it. And I was like thinking I was gonna captain Holland, which would have been huge. Probably would have had Semenyo. I was gonna go triple Liverpool attacks. That wouldn't have worked out, but I would have outscored my original team by 20 points. But I didn't have the time to really really tinker and come up with a team. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to like watch any of the games. So like, do I really want to use my free hit when I can't watch the games?
Yeah.
So just like for an entertainment perspective.
Nah.
Are we still here?
You froze on my screen, and I'm getting the reconnecting thing again.
Okay. We'll just wait. I'm not seeing you on my screen at the moment.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know if it's like my internet connection, because I feel like it sounds fine on Google Meet.
Like Google Meet sounds fine. You have been like super laggy, or at least you've been like kind of behind on my video.
Okay. Hopefully it comes out all right in the recording.
Yeah, usually it has. Every time I've noticed it once or twice before, but it always comes out fine.
Yeah, it says I'm reconnecting, but your screen is black for me. Does it show that I'm back for you or no?
No.
I wonder, I don't want to like mess up the recording, but I wonder if I like leave and come back, if it'll fix it.
Yeah, it could just be recording us like normally right now, and I'm just not seeing you for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that happened.
It just never says reconnecting though for me.
Oh. Because at one time when like your phone was about to die, your video dropped off from my screen, but it still captured you because you were still there. I just couldn't see you, but it still captured both of us.
Oh, nice. I actually
That's
forgot to go back and check that.
that's why I'm wondering if it's still capturing both of us right now.
Maybe, because, I mean, it says I'm recording. The time's still counting up. I can
Yeah.
still see myself on the screen. I just can't see you.
Okay, yeah, same. Do you want to just finish the FPL part, and then if it's bad,
Yeah.
just cut it out?
Yeah. Yeah,
All right,
that
cool.
makes sense, actually, yeah.
All right, so we'll do a little
So,
time. Ready to go back, jump back in? Cool. Yeah, so I had a diabolical week. Or I guess last thing I was saying was that I didn't play my free hit because I wouldn't be able to like really enjoy it watching the games. That and not really being sure, more so the point that I wasn't sure of my team. But anyway, it's been all downhill since then. This week I was going to play my bench boost, but decided not to, which would have worked out well because I scored 35 points and my bench had 17. So they had like half as much as like my entire team from 3 players. I didn't even have a full plain bench, which is so sad.
yeah.
Diabolical week with 35 points. Sanchez -3, got the red card and then got the additional extra -1, which is crazy. This game that you get goal conceded when he plays on a red card and you lose
That
a
is
point.
insane.
Diabolical.
That is diabolical.
Juve, who got me an assist, I was excited. I was like, okay, sick. Juve got an assist. But he ends up getting a yellow card and 2 goals conceded. So he scored only 3 points. And then Esteve outscored him somehow on my bench just because of DEF CON.
Yeah.
So just a terrible week. The only people that really returned for me were Anderson, or got DEF CON, but he's been a beast for me. And then Mo Salah with his 5-point assist and Bruno Fernandes are the only 2 real people that returned for me. So just absolutely diabolical.
My boy. Yeah.
But I am on
that
3.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, I am on 3 free transfers. So I'm going to do Mo Salah to Semenyo. Then either Chris Wood or Watkins. I think Chris Wood, because he's also been looking terrible getting subbed early, even though he's got a good fixture. I'm probably going to do Wood to Holland and then Rogers to Njai. To really switch up my team. I think I'll be much more happy. And then in the coming weeks, you do like Watkins to Gyökeres or downgrade Watkins and to move Bruno to Saka at some point. But that's my move right now is those 3 that I'm pretty set on, and I'm pretty confident I'm going to triple captain Holland this week.
Yeah, sure. I like it. I like the moves. It's still early, still time to get those points back.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, I like the forward planning you've done. I have like ideas in theory, but I haven't actually looked at exactly what's gonna work for my team. I feel like I've been doing okay, but I feel like I just keep sitting in that like middle of the pack level in our mini league. But I got the green arrow this week. I was on 50 points. As far as choices that I made going into the week, I was really tempted to start the Burnley defense. I don't know. I wussied out, and then I thought maybe I go with the bench boost, but then I was like, I don't know who I'd want to upgrade Mark Gui to because I still got him sitting on my bench, but like I really wanted to bench boost this week so I could just get rid of it and then not have to worry about my bench. And my bench ended up doing pretty well with Dubravka on a 4, Esteve on a 4, and Dorgu got the assist. And Dorgu was the one that really killed me because I had him starting over Pedro Porro when I went to bed. And then I woke up basically like middle of the night and was like, maybe I swapped that out. Like maybe I need to stop like putting so much, like I don't want to be too biased and put heavy United. And it's just like when I watch him play, he's the highest player on the, like him and Mbuma are the 2 people getting the most dangerous touches on our team every single match. So I was like, I feel like he's bound to get something. So that one kind of hurt a little bit. But, hindsight 2020, still probably wouldn't have been that many points in hindsight because I don't think I ever would have started Dubravka over Stells. Like, I basically would have only started one of my Burnley players if I started them. But I was thinking about doing Dubravka in goal and then Dorgu over Pedro Porro. So that was a little bit of a swing, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And then the Reinders 9-pointer was huge. Mo Salah getting his goal involvement was huge for me. At least he got it earlier in the match rather than later. And then Bruno Fernandes, obviously. Anderson got his DEFCON. And then I think Sells, I don't know if he got, what was it, like save points or something? Yeah, he got 1 point for
Yeah.
4 saves. But the big story for me is the Aston Villa guys.
Yeah.
I was sitting so pretty after the first like early games. I was like, oh, I could have a really nice week here, and then they just completely shat the bed once again against Sunderland, and that I think is the last straw for me. So I've got 2 free transfers heading into next week, and I think it's going to involve trying to figure out a way to. I don't know if I want to give up on Watkins just yet, but I might need to give up on Watkins and try and upgrade him to Holland, or if I can free up money elsewhere and get Gooey up to Holland somehow by like selling Salah and then getting and finding some more funds elsewhere. But I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done too much forward planning, so I don't know exactly what my moves are going to be. I just know I want to try and get Holland in, and then either set my team up for a wild card in the next couple of weeks, or find a way to get in some Arsenal assets, because I think you guys have a decent run of games coming up soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. After Newcastle, we've got like Palace and Fulham, and then after those two, I think is really good.
Okay, yeah. So that's why I think I was looking for, that would put us at game week 8 maybe, because game week 6 Newcastle, game week 7 Palace, and then game week 8 would be Fulham. But I could deal with that and then have Arsenal assets in the door. So we'll see. I don't know exactly what I want to do. I need to look at my team in more depth. I just know I want to get Holland in, and I'm thinking about that triple captain as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do like Gooey to Holland, because Gooey's what, like 4.5, 4.3 or something. But then you have to like downgrade Rogers to someone to do like a pretty similar like move to what I'm doing. Yeah, you're gonna have to take a hit though, I believe. Most likely, unless you have some money in the bank.
I do. I mean, I do, but not enough. I've got. Well, it depends who I downgrade to, I guess. I've got 2.4 in the bank right now, so I've got a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
in the bank.
Nice.
But we'll see. Because but the only way I can upgrade Gooey to Holland is obviously, if I move Mo Salah out, and then that's already 2 transfers there, and I don't have a third right now, so I would have to take a hit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying like Holland and Salah are about the same, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically Gooey plus 2, whatever you have in the bank for a midfielder. So you can get like a 6.
You're right. I would just have to keep Rogers.
Yeah, you keep Rogers, but you get a decent midfielder for Salah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, so
we'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what's available to me, what's speaking to me, but I feel okay about my team. I haven't really looked at what the matchups look like for them this week, but I'm kind of itching to use my wild card or some kind of chip, so probably going to be that triple captain here.
Nice. I think triple wild card seems to be popular this week, and then it looks like this week, week 8, and then 13 are the weeks people are going to be using that in terms of like just like the meta. I'd like to. I looked at my team because I've got 3. My midfield looks fine. Once I make these 3 transfers, my defense could be a little stronger. But I like to wait in like 8. But I'm thinking like maybe 13, because like between 6 and 8, there's not too much. But we'll see when that time comes. But definitely excited to make 3 free transfers, get Holland in, and shake up my team because it is much needed.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm also trying to work. I'm a little worried about like some price rises over the next couple of weeks, just with so many people, wild carding and that kind of stuff.
That's why I need to get rid of Rogers like ASAP actually before price rises.
Yeah, false. I know what you meant. Yeah, but we'll see. I don't know. Lots to think about. I got to go do my FPL homework. I feel like I have not been doing that, and I've just been kind of cruising the last couple of weeks, but it's worked out. So.
Nice.
All right, but yeah, that's all I had FPL wise, and all I had pod wise. I think we hit all the major stories for the week.
Yep, good with me. I got nothing else to cover.
All right. Well, if that's the case, hopefully this outro works. I have no idea if I'm still connected, but if I am, thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far in the video. I appreciate you for staying tuned in, and I am looking forward to catching up with you guys next week after game week 6.
Thanks for tuning in.